bullish or bearish. Whether you're a rookie trader or a rock star, we believe there's room for everyone. Every Filipino can learn how to trade. We're just your average Joe. But together, let's take advantage of the greatest equalizer of wealth ever, the stock market, where millions can be made and lost in a click of a finger. The journey to trading mastery is a lifetime, and we're here to stay. We are ZFT, and this is where the hot money is.
Good evening and welcome to episode 46 of Ask ZFT Weekly Podcast. So, I'm in Coach Cosmos and I'm here to answer your questions for tonight. So, magkakaroon tayo ng parang live Q&A, no? But I have a list of questions here na I can also discuss for this 1-hour podcast. So, if you have questions, feel free to ask them sa chat natin. We will try our best to answer them. And if may mga questions inside TR na tingin yung magandang maging discussion natin for tonight, pwede nyo ding i-share. Okay? Sige, so I've looked at different channels and may mga nakita akong mga interesting questions coming from some of our members. So i-share natin siya. So let's start here with a question from Sir Jerry. Okay, Sir Jerry Malagsik. So, nandito ba si Sir Jerry? Tingnan nga natin. Wala si Sir Jerry. So, ang question na to, he posted this sa ating consultations channel. And the question goes like this. Good evening, TR family. Good evening. As a momentum trader, a breakout of a key level resistance is an entry. And having 2 times to 3 times or more than the normal volume during the breakout will add conviction and confirmation of the breakout. So, dinidiscuss dito ni Sir Jerry yung kanyang setup. Basically, yung setup niya is breakout of a resistance with abnormal volume or high volume. Pero sabi niya dito, what if daw may auto-buy condition ako sa breakout price? Dahil as a US trader, hanggang 11 PM lang ako gising. Then by the end of the trading hour, nag-close above naman sa breakout price pero hindi convincing ang volume. Paano magiging approach ko dito the next day during market hours? So it's quite a technical question, right? Pero before we answer it technically, I think it's best na tingnan muna natin ano ba yung problem dito ni Sir Jerry. So I'll flash the question on the screen so that yung mga bagong pasok makita nyo din, no? So let me just include it sa slide natin, right? So wait. Mga questions kasi na to, live ko siyang sinasama sa ating sa ating stream. Ayan. Okay. So next slide. Ito yung question niya. The first thing that every trader should understand, okay, especially if ibang market yung tinitrade niya, is yung market ba na yun, yung nature ng market, yung schedule ng market, the way you can trade that market, does it align with your personal schedule? Kasi kung sa una pa lang wala na yung parang alignment na yun or hindi talaga siya pasok doon sa personal routine mo, it's going to be very difficult for you to trade it effectively. So ito yung challenge ng mga Filipino traders na syempre iba yung time zone natin tapos you're trading the US market. Kasi volatility in the US market usually happens in the first 1 hour to 2 hours of the trading day. Tama ba? So hindi ako nagtitrade ng US market but I know na yun yung parang volatile hours. And if you're a day trader or you're a momentum trader, yun yung best time for you to trade. Okay? So, if you're trading the US market, dapat factored in yun doon sa consideration mo when it comes to your execution and your trade plan. So, dito kasi sabi ni Sir Jerry, hanggang 11 PM lang daw siya gising. So, I think the US market opens at 9:30 in the evening. Tama ba? Yung mga nagtitrade ng US market dito, correct me if I'm wrong but parang sa PSE lang din siya. So, sa atin, bukas siya 9:30 AM and I think it's 12 hours yung time difference, no? So, 9:30 PM sa atin, Yun yung opening doon sa kanila. So, meron siyang 1 hour and 30 minutes window to execute. Now, sabi niya dito, okay lang siya when it comes to the breakout levels. Kasi yung breakout level, pre-planned na yan eh. So, the night before, titingnan niyo yung chart, makikita niya na yung level na yun. Pero, meron siyang additional criteria which is the volume. Okay, so let's talk about volume. When you consider volume in your setup, you have to specify kung anong volume yung dapat na ma-consider mo. Is it the end of day volume? Is it the volume yesterday? Yung tinatawag nating parang if you compare it with the volume today, meron tayong concept called relative volume. So what's the volume yesterday in comparison to the volume of the past 5 days? Okay, there are traders who are using relative volume as part of their setups. So yun ba yung kino-consider mo? Or maybe you're talking about the volume in the first hour of the day. That can also be part of your setup. So, hindi ko alam kung ano yung volume na tinitingnan dito ni Sir Jerry, but I think he is talking about end of day volume. So, parang may mismatch doon sa setup na gusto niyang gawin with the way he trades that setup and his personal schedule. Kasi technically, dapat if you're talking about volume tapos you're talking about 2 times or 3 times siya based on your setup, you should be using volume near end of day. Kasi doon lang siya magiging comparable with the previous day's volume. Kasi yun yung parang magiging basis mo if either it's twice or thrice of your average volume or previous day's volume. So, gets niyo ba yun? That is why when you create your playbook or pag nagba-backtest kayo ng mga setups nyo, you cannot just say na, okay, yung ano ko to, yung setup ko dito is, ito dapat yung volume, ito dapat yung RSI, and so on and so forth. Because some of these indicators that you consider in your setups, they do not completely form as the trading day progresses. So, be careful with that. Now, sabi niya kasi dito, hindi daw naging convincing yung volume. Okay, it closed above the breakout price at the end of the trading hour pero hindi naging convincing yung volume. So I'm guessing na may mga trade siya before this particular trade na nag-work to his advantage yung volume criteria niya. So nagkataon na naglagay siya ng conditional breakout order without really factoring in volume. Kasi hindi mo naman pwede ilagay sa condition mo na dapat ganito yung volume, 'di ba? Unless you're using trading bots. So this is just the normal conditional order na nasa broker niya. So siguro in the past, yung mga trades niya nagkakataon na pag may breakout, according to his breakout criteria, sumusunod yung volume end of day. But here comes this day na hindi yun nangyari. Okay? So yun yung context. Now, bago ko sagutin yung question niya, 'di ba? Makikita niyo na may mga problems na dapat niyang i-address. So yun na nga yung alignment sa personal schedule niya and yung anong specific volume yung kino-consider mo. So now, let's answer the question. Paano magiging approach mo the next day during market hours? Okay, sabi niya ganun. So, siguro accept na niya na, okay, fine, hindi satisfied yung volume criteria. So now, it's the following day. What would be my approach? Siguro kung ako yung nasa lagay niya, my approach would be like this. Am I willing to compromise the volume criteria na hindi na satisfy to continue with the trade? Kumbaga, if the volume criteria is not satisfied, are there other conditions or are there other factors that can compensate for that lack of condition? Normally kasi yung mga traders, pag may setup tayo, we want it to be parang lahat ng conditions perfectly na-satisfy ng market. Right? Kunwari, CH. So CH is a setup. May iba't ibang condition siya, di ba? So gusto mo, if you trade that setup, all those conditions are satisfied. But in a very sideways market or yung market natin ngayon, 'di ba? It's not really bullish, it's very choppy. When you have that kind of market and you still plan to trade that market, yung mga conditions mo, expect na hindi yan masasatisfy lahat. So in other words, do not expect a perfect setup with this kind of market if you want to trade it. So kasi pag ganito yung market, medyo choppy, it's better for me to just step back and go all cash eh. So, yun yung dapat na i-factor in mo doon sa expectation mo. Okay lang ba for this kind of market na may one or two conditions na hindi na-satisfy? If your answer to that is yes, what are other factors that can compensate for that lack of condition? So siguro sabihin natin yung trade ni Sir Jerry, kinulang sa volume, pero in terms of let's say the type of resistance that was broken, it's a major resistance. Okay, hindi siya yung tipong 6-month high lang or 52-week high lang. It's an all-time high resistance. So siguro that can compensate for the lack of volume. So for me, if that's the case, I might continue with the trade. So I'll manage the trade as if it was just my normal setup. Now, another scenario would be, it's not really a good breakout. Okay? So, the lack of volume is a sign na hindi masyado convincing yung breakout. Choppy pa yung market. Tapos yung resistance pa talaga na binasag niya, it's not really a major resistance. So, siguro sabihin natin parang 10-day high lang. Okay? So, in that case, I think it's better for you to just forgo the trade. So, kung ano man yung parang magiging price at the open, just sell it. So, bakit mo yun gagawin, coach? Hindi ba parang nandun ka na sa trade, so why not just continue with the trade? Diba? Sabi nila, it's better for you to be not in a trade that you don't want than to be in a trade na hindi mo naman talaga gusto. So, I'll be more inclined to just sell it at the open, knowing na may isang major criteria na hindi na satisfy, tapos hindi pa talaga convincing yung breakout. Right? So, nakita nyo ba paano natin in-approach yung question niya? So, you have to consider different things, different scenarios. And that's the thing with this type of questions, lalo na pag technical question siya. Hindi ko pwedeng sabihin na, okay, so, pag ganyan yung scenario, ito lang yung gagawin mo. Hindi siya parang black and white. Okay? Marami siyang if and then. So, if ganito, then ito yung dapat mo gawin. If ito naman yung scenario, then maybe this is the best course of action. So I hope that can also help you when it comes to your trade plans. Right? So mas mas magiging parang scenario planner and mas specific kayo when it comes to your conditions. Right. So hopefully Sir Jerry, pag napanood mo yung recording na to, nasagot natin yung question mo. Okay, meron pa tayong isang question from Sir Ren. Okay, but before that, before we answer this question, meron tayong may question tayo here from one of our listeners. Coach, any tips sa mga new full-time traders? Okay, usapang full-time muna tayo. Sige. Let's paste the question and show it sa slide natin. Coach, any tips sa mga new full-time traders? May dilemma kasi when it comes to losses. I followed my system, invalidated lang talaga ni market, pero naging emotional sa loss. Kahit may emergency funds and backup plans. Any tips to overcome situations like this? Okay. If you are trading full-time, the first question that you have to ask is, am I relying on my trading as my only source of income? So, paulit-ulit na namin tong sinasabi every time this full-time question comes in. Do you have other faucets? Because if you're trading full-time and yung expectation mo is the market will pay you for your bills, for your everyday expenses, yun yung parang magko-compromise or magsasabotage ng mindset mo and your trading process. Okay? So itong sinasabi dito ng person na to, na naging emotional siya sa loss. Even if I believe na itong loss na to, it's normal according to his system. In fact, siya mismo nagsabi dito. Sinunod niya lang yung system niya. Okay? Just followed my system na invalidate lang ni market. So, basically, the loss is just any other loss. Diba? When you trade, normal naman talaga magka-loss. Pero naging emotional siya. So, to this person, I want you to ask yourself, what's the reason, what's the root cause of you being emotional about this loss? Kasi maraming maraming factors yan. Pero typically, the factor is, yung expectation mo pagdating doon sa trading na yan. Kasi now you're a full-time trader. So, you might have the impression na full-time trader na ako. Therefore, full-time employee ako ng market. And if I'm a full-time employee of the market, then the market is required to pay me for my hard work, for me going full-time. Okay? So, if that's the kind of mindset that you're bringing as a full-time trader, you will always be emotional when it comes to your losses. And lalo na if you don't have any emergency fund and any other faucet. Okay? Kasi ganito yan guys eh. Alam mo sa sarili mo that trading is a probabilistic game. There's no way to trade na always kang kikita. In fact, there's no way to trade na tipong every single week or every single day or every single month positive ka. Even the best traders out there, sasabihin nila na, sige, there's a series of, let's say, 7 months, 8 months, puro positive yung port nila. Okay? At the end of the month. Pero may isa or dalawang month na talagang magne-negative sila. So, there is always that possibility of loss. Now, the thing with that kasi, even if you understand probabilities, but if you are attaching your reliance to your trading income, then whatever kind of intellect or mindset na dala-dala mo dyan, you will always fall to that trap of being emotional. Always. Okay? So, how do you overcome this? Kailangan mong i-troubleshoot to, di ba? So, I suggest you try to assess your current financial status. Okay, that's the first thing that you have to do. So, do I really have a way to pay my bills every month na hindi ako umaasa sa trading ko? Okay? For some people guys, no, mga ibang full-time traders, yung mindset nila parang ganito eh. Kailangan ko ma-pressure. Kailangan pag I'll be more motivated, I'll work hard more if I know that trading is my only source. Kumbaga parang burning all the bridges, tipong ganun, na pag hindi ako gumaling, that's it. It's game over for me. Okay? Now, that might work for some people, but for me, I don't think that's a healthy starting point for a full-time trader. Okay, so yun yung una mong tanungin, sir. Assess your current financial status. So, syempre, part nun is, you need to find a way to look for other faucets para hindi ka maging ganun ka-emotional when it comes to your losses, especially if those losses are just normal. And number 2, you have to ask yourself if etong mga losses ba na to, is this within my capacity to handle? Or in other words, mental wallet mo. Is this within my mental wallet? Kasi ang ginagawa no ng karamihan ng mga full-time traders, they leverage. They borrow capital and go full-time. Yun yung typical parang steps. Kasi alam mo sa sarili mo, mas malaki yung capital mo, mas malaki yung magiging kita mo as a full-time trader. So if you have, let's say, 2 million capital, kahit kumita ka lang ng 5% in a month, so 2 million times 5%, magkano yun? That's 100,000. So okay na yun, di ba? Like, for me, if you're living in the province like me, sobrang laki na nun. Right? So, yun yung ginagawa, nagle-leverage. But what they don't understand is if you do that, you increase your capital too much and hindi yun within sa mental wallet mo, then that can also contribute to you being emotional about your loss. So, yun, assess mo din yun. Tama ba tong port na hinahandle ko? Am I handling a port that is big enough for me to survive as a full-time trader but not too big enough to the point na hindi siya na-handle ng psych ko? Okay? So, that's my answer to your question. Hopefully, nasagot natin. So, paano na lang, pa-validate na lang. Kasi private message niya lang sinabi. So, I hope nasagot. If you have a follow-up question to this, you can also ask. Right? So, I'll move to the next question. We have another question here coming from Sir Ren. So, ito sa consultations channel niya lang din shinare. So, let's flash it on our screen. So, good evening, PR. I just want to ask kung tuwing kailan kayo nag-screen ng stocks lalo na doon sa mga momentum traders, and if pumasok sa watchlist nyo, kailan nyo siya tinatanggal? Okay, screening. Ako personally, my screening is always everyday. Kaya 'di ba nakikita nyo sa quants natin, everyday ako nagpo-post, and I use that data to identify meron bang bagong name na pwede kong i-trade for the next few days. Okay? So, you have, for me if you're trading momentum kasi hindi siya tulad ng trend following, 'di ba? Like if you're doing trend following, yung trends kasi, it takes time to develop, and at the same time, it takes time to be invalidated. Hindi na invalidate yung trend with just one single candle or two single days. Okay, two candles or two trading days. Siguro may mga instances na nangyayari yun, especially if sobrang lalim ng drop. But for me, siguro sobrang madalang. Okay, talagang pag trend yan, dahan-dahan yang mabubuo, dahan-dahan din yang ma-invalidate. So okay lang na pag trend follower ka, hindi everyday yung way mo to screen. But if you're a momentum trader, you have to be always aware of where momentum is in this market. Okay? So kunwari no sa PSE, ang nature kasi ng PSE guys, especially for traders here na yung PSE talaga yung main market nyo. Sa isang buong taon, siguro mga 2 to 3 months lang yung talagang momentum market. All the other months are just sideways or yung parang basura months na wala masyadong gumagalaw. So, if you're a momentum trader in the PSE, you have to identify kailan yung time na may momentum talaga sa overall market. And that's the best time for you to participate. So pag nangyari yung season na yon, yun yung tipong talagang everyday tinitingnan mo, okay, where will momentum go, or where will momentum shift? Kasi sa PSE kasi pag may gumalaw, nagiging liquidity sucker siya eh. So kunwari this day gumalaw yung specific na stock, let's say it's dito. Okay? Once may nakita yung market na okay, ito yung parang apple of the eye for this day. Lahat ng liquidity halos doon pumupunta. Unless it's really a super bull market, parang yung market ng 2018. So parang every day may mga nagsisiling, tapos yung mga nagsisiling play nagmo-momentum, lahat sila may liquidity. So that's kind of an exception. But most of the time it's just one or two names. Okay? So once may momentum sa isang name, syempre magrarally yan. Once the momentum ends, the liquidity will shift to other names. Do you notice that? Hindi ko alam kung sa crypto ganun din siya, pero ang crypto kasi the market is really, it's highly correlated. So pag gumagalaw yung Bitcoin, it's expected na yung mga altcoins gagalaw din siya. Sa PSE, the nature of the market in terms of liquidity is palipat-lipat yung liquidity. So magsisimula siya sa blue chips, okay, magmo-momentum, and once umakyat yung blue chips, the big players will liquidate, okay, they will sell, and then yung profits nila doon, papaikutin nila sa mga low cap stocks, yung mga stocks na mabilis nilang pagalawin. Okay, and so on and so forth. So, when that market comes in, when that market happens, yun, dapat araw-araw. Pero kunwari, ganitong market sa PSE. So, if you're a momentum trader, you can decide to step back. Okay, so hindi ka na araw-araw mag-screen. Siguro you can do it every other day, knowing na hindi naman talaga to yung market na ideal for momentum. Okay? So, dalawang question to, 'di ba? So, yung first question niya is, by default, momentum every day, but be conscious of the market condition. So, know when to just step back na, okay, hindi ko kailangan to screen today kasi pangit naman talaga yung market, and know when to be aggressive. Okay, minsan, I remember a time in the PSE na sobrang ganda ng market for momentum. Yung screening ko, ginagawa ko siya like morning ibang screening, tapos hapon another form of screening. Kasi grabe yung shift sa liquidity and momentum ng mga iba't ibang stocks. So yun, you can do that. Now, if pumasok sa watchlist nyo, sabi niya dito, if pumasok sa watchlist nyo, kailan nyo siya tinatanggal? Ito, hindi ko masyado gets na part. Kasi, nakapasok lang sa tama ba? Kakapasok lang sa watchlist mo. So, bakit mo siya kailangan tanggalin agad-agad? Parang gano'n yung nakikita ko dito. Parang concern siya kung kailan mo siya dapat tanggalin. I don't think na parang when you're trading momentum, dahil lang nawala yung momentum for a single day or 2 days, agad mo siya kailangan tanggalin. Okay? Usually kasi pag nagkaroon ng very good momentum and liquidity yung isang name, ang tendency niyan is magte-trend siya. So, siguro tatanggalin mo lang siya 'pag talagang very clear na fake yung momentum, parang gano'n. Or if you want to really ride the trend kasi within a trend, ganito kasi yan guys, 'di ba? Within a trend, hindi. Before it shows momentum, it's consolidating in a range. Okay, momentum is basically, well, if you're talking about a long trade, it's just breakout, right? So it's a breakout of a significant level and people look at it, and since people are looking at it, momentum will carry forward to a trend. Okay, ganyan. So pag trend follower ka, yan yung gusto mong sakyan. If you're a momentum trader, ang habol mo is yung mga strength rallies. So yung mga rallies na nagbibigay ng mabibilis na candles with volatility. So yan yung mga habol mo. So kunwari, eto, walang momentum kasi nag-retrace siya. So is it right for you to remove that name even if it's now trending, even if liquidity is here? I don't think so. Okay? So, yun, ganun I think yung best approach when you're trading momentum. So once may pumasok sa watchlist mo, wag mo siyang tanggalin agad dahil lang nawala ng momentum. Tingnan mo muna. Observe mo muna, is it going to develop into a trend or was the momentum just fake liquidity or fake momentum? Okay? So, hindi ko siya masyado hindi ko siya kayang sagutin in a single line kasi ang daming scenarios na pwedeng mangyari. But in summary, basically that's it. Right? So, thank you, Sir. Sino nagtanong nito? Sir Ren. Ayan, thank you, Sir Ren, for this question. Do you have questions, guys? Just post it sa chat. Kasi if walang questions, meron akong gustong i-discuss for the next 30 minutes before we end our podcast. Right? So, post nyo lang yung questions nyo sa chat. So, kanina, I was searching for something na I'd like to discuss for this podcast. So, ako kasi pag nagpa-podcast ako, minsan yung topic, iniisip ko lang siya on the fly. So, kanina, I was thinking, ano kaya magandang pag-usapan? Ang dami na kasi nating napag-usapan dito eh. Every Sunday, di ba? Halos na-cover na natin yung mga technicals, trading psychology. Siyempre, may mga FGD tayo, nandun na yung technicals. So, I'm looking for something na hindi ko pa na-discuss. And then, I had this thought because may nakita akong parang topic. I think it was sa Investa Talk. And the topic is looking for qualities of successful traders. Okay, parang ganon. So ano daw yung parang common sa mga successful traders na alam natin? So nag-Google ako. And I saw this reference. I think this is coming from CME. Okay, CME Group. And nakalagay doon, qualities of successful traders. So, yun yung gusto kong pag-usapan now. Doon sa reference na yun, I'll post the link sa chat natin. Para if you want to read it, baka kasi sabihin nyo na ako yung gawa-gawa nito. So, let's give credit. Ayan. So, if you go to this reference, you will see that there are 10 qualities of successful traders. The first quality is commitment. Okay? So accordingly daw, if you want to be a successful trader, hindi dapat yung mindset mo hindi dapat na parang hobby lang yung trading. Okay? And maybe some of you ganun yung approach nyo sa trading. Maybe you have a business or maybe you're satisfied with your work and you just want to earn on the sidelines through investing or through trading. Now, if that's the kind of commitment that you bring, chances are you're not going to make it. In other words, most, if not all, successful traders, when you talk about trading, they will say na that is their exclusive, and hindi lang exclusive but yan yung parang priority nila when it comes to their time. Of course, there are other priorities like family, relationships, but when it comes to their quote unquote self-development or yung work time nila, trading is on top of that list. Sabi nga dito sa source natin, anything that distracts them from fully focusing, fully concentrating on this game and on this craft is set aside until after the trading day ends. Kaya very typical yan, no, for traders na parang nagsisimula pa lang, syempre excited ka, 'di ba? Normally most traders I think are they start with this very high level of commitment kasi they get excited with the idea na pag na-master ko 'to, kikita ako ng sobrang laki, 'di ba? So when you start, nandun yung kumbaga your commitment is at its peak. And because it's at its peak, sobrang excited ka with the idea of earning big, pinapabayaan mo lahat. Kumbaga parang nagkakaroon ka ng tunnel vision. That's why sometimes, or actually hindi sometimes na, but most of the time, when you are a starting trader, marami kang mako-compromise, marami kang masa-sacrifice. Sometimes, those sacrifices, hindi lang opportunities, but like people, relationships. Okay, that can, or that will happen. So, this commitment, guys, can be a double-edged sword. But, again, accordingly, if you want to be a successful trader, you need to be committed on the craft. Hindi mo siya pwedeng itrato na sideline mo lang. Okay? Clear? Now, other than commitment, sabi din doon sa source is, you need to have this attitude of always reflecting, always introspecting when it comes to yourself. Kumbaga, diba, minsan yung iba sa atin parang nakukornihan tayo when we talk about reflection, when we talk about yung parang magmumuni-muni ka to think about yourself, to think about your strengths, your weaknesses. For us, parang hindi naman siguro important yan, coach, di ba? Kasi trading, it's all about strategy. It's all about reading the charts. But accordingly, the best traders are very, very introspective. And ako nakita ko to when I was starting and I was nakilala ko si Boss Z, 'di ba, sa vlog niya, nakilala ko din siya personal when there were certain events na nandun siya. Every time I look at him, nakikita ko yung I see a person who is not only intelligent or very strategic, I see a person who loves to understand himself. Pag pinapakinggan niyo ngayon si Boss Z, like yung mga shine-share niya sa Facebook, sa personal account niya, or yung shine-share niya within the Discord channels, nakita niyo na very introspective siya. Parang gusto niyang always ma-improve yung self niya. Gusto niyang always ma-assess kung ano ba yung weakness niya now para ma-improve niya. Okay? So, if you want to be successful, maybe that's something that you have to emulate. Because guys, yung mga strategies or even the system itself that we're using, that can be easily taught eh. In fact, hindi nyo kailangang maging part ng ZFT para lang may matutunan kayong trading strategy na gumagana. Because there are other strategies out there that are also profitable. Yan yung iba libre pa. Okay? Or siguro yung iba cheaper pa. Right? But strategies are useless if it doesn't match your personal strength and weaknesses. So parang if you enroll in a trading community or course and day trading yung specialty nila, but day trading is not really your strength kasi ikaw yung tipong tao na mabilis magpanic, or ikaw yung tipong tao na you're better trading in a more relaxed sense. So hindi siya gagana sa'yo, even if the strategy is profitable. So, that's a very interesting trait of successful traders na napapansin ko. Another aspect of this introspection or being introspective is they have this fortitude sa mindset nila na parang hindi nila kailangan i-compare yung self nila with other traders. Kumbaga parang they are not really concerned about how they measure up to others. Ang only concern nila is if they are reaching different levels as themselves. Okay? Kumbaga yung way nila of measuring their progress or their yung standard nila for themselves is if they're better now with who they are the day before or who they are before this particular trade. Okay? And I think that's very important, especially if you want to survive in this game. Kasi sabi nila, 'di ba? Um ano nga 'yun? Comparison is the thief of joy. So you might be improving, you might be doing all the right things, and then you see another person na parang hindi naman siya ZFT, hindi naman siya as committed or as intelligent as you, pero yung gains niya mas malaki sa'yo. Nagkataon na this trader was able to ride the whole crypto bubble, tapos ikaw hindi mo nasakyan for some reason, 'di ba? So you might think na what's the point of all these things kung siya wala naman siyang ginawang tama pero nandun sa kanya yung gains na gusto mo. 'Di ba? And once that happens, it becomes dangerous to your journey. So yun, introspection. And part of that is not comparing yourself with other traders. Another characteristic is self-control. Ito medyo self-explanatory, no? If you are trading tapos before that moment na nag-open yung market is parang kulang ka sa tulog or maybe there are problems sa bahay nyo, problems sa family mo that you believe na will compromise your trading process or your execution. So, dun papasok yung self-control eh. Okay? Part of self-control din kasi is awareness. So, ito pagsama natin. You have to be aware if you are ready to trade or not ready to trade. So, yung ibang traders guys, no, I'm not sure if you have watched Billions. Okay, Billions yung series. Meron yan sa Netflix. Yung firm ni Axelrod, 'di ba? Meron silang trading psychologist. And the role of that trading psychologist is to assess whether traders are still in control of their regimen and if they are ready to trade or yung mindset nila is ready for the trading day. Yun lang yung trabaho niya. To always check on the traders. Now, imagine nyo eto nasa nasa parang fictional series lang. But in real trading firms, yung mga prop trading firms kung tawagin nila, talagang meron silang ganong person, trading psychologist, na yun lang yung role niya. And that shows us na you as a trader, even if you have the best strategy, even if you're very intelligent, it's not going to be ideal for you if hindi mo din makontrol yung sarili mo. Wala kang self-discipline and hindi ka aware of your preparedness for the market. Okay? Does that make sense? So yan, successful traders, they put importance on self-control and they're very aware of themselves. Naalala ko pa yung mga post ni Boss Z before, no? Like, there are days na sasabihan siya either ng mga trading leaders, no? People under him will tell him na, boss, parang hindi ka ata ready mag-trade. And he will follow that. Susundin niya yun as an advice. Kasi minsan tayo, hindi natin yun nakikita sa sarili natin. Minsan it's other people who see that in us. So I think that's also something important here sa awareness side. If you find it difficult to be self-aware, then allow people to help you with that. So, di ba may AG system tayo inside TR. So, if you think na weakness mo yung self-awareness or weakness mo yung self-control, do a contract or agreement with someone else or with a group. Tell them na, guys, if nakikita nyo sa akin or napapansin nyo sa mga trades ko na parang out of control ako or kulang ako sa discipline or maybe pinipilit ko pa rin mag-trade kahit alam kong problemado ako ngayon, so nako-compromise yung psychology ko, please tell me to stop. And I am obliged na pag sinabi niyong stop, talagang dapat mag-stop. 'Di ba? Maganda siguro yung gano'ng system 'no, sa AG niyo. Ewan ko, yung mga may AG ba dito, are you employing that kind of system? Yung parang may votation kayo or parang every week ina-assess niyo yung isa't isa. So ikaw ano, kamusta? Ano yung mga trades mo? Ano yung problems mo ngayon? Do you think it's affecting your trading? Tapos after mag-share nung trader na yon, yung mga other members sa group, they will vote. So is this trader good to go for this week? So if you don't get, let's say, 2/3 of the vote na ready ka, then you cannot trade. Hindi mo yun pwede i-violate. So syempre, hindi naman nila malalaman kung magte-trade ka pa rin. But doon napapasok yung honesty and integrity mo as part of that accountability group. So yun, subukan nyo. Baka maybe it will help in a way for you to improve your self-control and awareness. Okay? Fifth, realistic. Ito very important. Sabi dito sa CME, if you're a trader and you want to be successful, you need to establish realistic goals. Never take irrational chances in order to improve the possibility of achieving windfalls. Ito, pinaka problema ng mga traders na nakaranas ng malaking gain when they are starting. 'Di ba? Dalawa lang kasi yan eh. Either you start tapos sinampal ka agad ng market, or you start and the market rewarded you, which 'di ba, parang nilure ka ng market, inempt ka ng market. You are seduced by the market with this big gain. So isipin mo na lang, 'di ba? Kumita ka ng sobrang laki when you are starting, nagkataon lang na naka-all-in ka sa isang coin na umakyat ng 1,000, 2,000%. And now you begin to think na if I can do this without any technicals, any charts, any knowledge, without any community, kung kaya ko 'to, ano na lang pag mas naging magaling pa ako, pag mas nag-improve pa ako, pag may mas strategy pa ako. So that is what happens. Kaya yung mga traders, they take irrational chances. Kumbaga, they treat the market as if it's a lottery. 'Di ba? Bakit ako magse-settle na parang 2:1 na risk reward ratio ng mga trades, 'di ba? And build my capital slowly. Bakit ko susundin yung sinasabi ni Coach Ken or ni Coach Cosmos na dapat um focus muna on consistency, na okay lang kahit 2%, 3% per month. Why would I do that when pwede naman akong kumita ng 1,000% in a single month? Once you have that kind of expectation, wala na. Sabotage na agad yung trading journey mo. Okay, because we all know na yes, possible yung mga ganong klaseng gains. Hindi ko naman sinasabi no na wag niyo yung wag niyong habulin yung ganon, kasi what if nagkataon na you have a strategy and it allowed you to have that kind of gain? Eh di congrats, 'di ba? Pero it doesn't mean na yun yung dapat na maging expectation mo. So you have to be realistic. You have to be also realistic, not just in your results, but in your progress. This will take time. Okay, I think may isang episode tayo sa podcast natin where I talk about the phases, okay, different phases of every trader na pagdadaanan niya from unconscious incompetence to unconscious competence. Okay, so panoorin niyo yun. I think nasa ano yun eh. Nasa recordings lang natin yun or nasa drive. So be realistic about your timeline. This can take years. Yung mga nakikita nyo na parang 2 months, 3 months naging profitable na, well, maybe that's true, but di natin alam eh. Baka nagkataon lang na profitable sila in 2 to 3 months kasi bull market yon. Kung pagdating ng bear market, they were using the same strategy, wala silang way to adapt to the new market condition, sinauli lang din nila lahat ng gains na yun. So, trust me on this kasi when we were starting, and I think, 2018. In 2018, sobrang ganda ng market sa PSE. A lot of traders had very massive gains in terms of percent and in terms of amount. Like some had 400% return in span of 3 months kasi sobrang ganda ng market that time. And ang nangyari is, they equated that result to them being already consistent. Okay? Siyempre 400% na yun, di ba? So it means if I can do this with this kind of portfolio, then kaya ko tong i-replicate with a bigger portfolio. So, ang daming nag-full-time that time. Yung iba naging mentor pa agad, 'di ba? They aspired na, okay, so galing ko na. So, I think it's time for me to teach or um, help other traders. So, nothing's wrong with that, but at the back of their mind, meron na silang parang wrong expectation. Hindi na sila nagiging realistic. And what happened is, nung pumangit yung market, I heard a lot of stories sa community. Syempre yung iba parang hearsays or parang rumors na lang na those same people na kumita ng 400, 500% ended up giving everything back and losing more at the end of the year. So, ayun lang. Do not think na this is easy. Okay? It will take time and it will take a lot of discipline, a lot of hard work, and a lot of sacrifice. Okay? That's the reality of this game. So, ito na. If you notice, itong patient, being patient is somewhat connected to you being realistic. Diba? Part of uh, the trait of being realistic is you understand na this will take time, right? So you have to be patient with yourself. Siguro ito yung parang advice na sa lahat ng consultations at one-on-ones na meron ako sa TR, ito yung parang common advice ko sa lahat. So be patient sa sarili mo. Huwag mong madaliin. Now, syempre that's easier said than done. Kasi kahit ako before, alam to ng mga tao sa paligid ko, alam to ng partner ko na ngayon, wife ko na. She knows na there was a time na I was very impatient with myself. And ako din, alam ko na naging impatient ako. Kasi yung tingin ko kasi sa trading parang ano it's something na I can just figure it out easily. So I was an academic achiever when I was in college, and there were a lot of complex topics na parang sa akin naging madali lang siya. So inisip ko, eto nga naintindihan ko, ano lang naman tong trading, 'di ba? This is just buying low, selling high. Tapos lagyan mo ng konting risk management. Sabi nila dapat may konting mindset ka, and that's it. Okay na. Pero what I realized na it's not it's not the case. Okay? The market really humbled me down and told me na you cannot act as if you can just figure out this game. So I ended up humbled, and part of that being humbled down is mas naging patient ako sa self ko. So there were a lot of days, a lot of maybe even weeks or months na I was really burning the midnight candle just to study trading but not see any results in what I'm doing. And 'di ba that can be very frustrating kasi alam mo ginagawa mo lahat ng tama pero wala ka namang nakikitang results. But that is the perfect time for you to be patient. Kasi in trading, gratification is usually delayed. Hindi lang in trading, let's go bigger. In most endeavors that will give you massive success. So it can be business, it can be maybe you want to be a professional athlete. In any endeavor na gusto mo na magkaroon ka ng massive success. The outcome or the reward is always delayed. 'Di ba? Parang yung story, 'di ba, like ano ba 'yon? Sa may athlete tapos parang kumita siya ng $100 million ata in a span of 60 minutes. I think it was boxing. Kalimutan ko lang yung name ng athlete. Tapos in-interview siya. Sabi niya, how does it feel to earn $100 million in just a span of 30 or 60 minutes? Sabi niya, 60 minutes? I've been working for this all my life. Okay, nasaan kayo when I was practicing back years ago in my own bedroom or in my own workroom trying to hone my skills? Nasaan kayo? Nasaan yung time na yon? So you have to consider that time. Or what about yung story ng bamboo? I think this is a more famous story kasi lagi ko tong nakikita, sinishare sa Facebook eh. So yung bamboo tree daw, it doesn't grow immediately. Okay? Parang dapat i-nurture mo siya for I think mga months before you see the first few stems na magre-rise up sa ground. But once once it grows, once lumabas na siya doon sa ground, dire-diretso siya. Okay? Yung growth niya mabilis. So, that's something that you have to practice as well. Okay. Adaptable. So, pang ilan na to? 1, 2, 3, 4, 7. So, you have to be adaptable. Ito, one of the acronyms that we always say in TR is AAA. Always adjust accordingly. The market is very dynamic. Right? Daming pwedeng magbago every day. There are unexpected events, yung tinatawag nating black swans. There are changing circumstances. So ngayon, as we are speaking, di ba, ang daming forces that influence the market. You have interest rate hikes. You have the price of oil. You have economic downturn in different countries. So ito, mga fundamentals to guys. But you know na these macro things are affecting even technical traders. And I know some traders before hindi sila naniniwala na alam niyo yun, yung parang they believe na sapat na yung charts. But most of them are now thinking na okay, charts are enough but maybe I have to be more conscious of this bigger events kasi I know it influences the market. So they become adaptable. Kung dati parang they just brush it off, ngayon parang mas conscious na sila. Or what about the idea of adapting with the market condition? Long only trader ka. O, bakit ka magte-trade kung bear market? 'Di ba? So, even something as simple as that, you have to practice that. Siyempre, successful traders are responsible. Yan. Siguro yung pinaka important thing about responsibility is yung word din na accountability. You have to be accountable with your results. Okay, sabi dito sa CME, a good trader or a successful trader, they don't blame others for their own losses or for their own shortcomings. Okay? They know that when they take risk, sila lang yung may accountability doon sa risk na yun. Even if that trade is recommended by someone else or siguro they're following a system na hindi sila yung bumuo, they know na once they place a trade, ako lang yung responsible sa trade na yan, no one else. Right? Part of responsibility also is, syempre, risk management. Ayan, di yan mawawala. You have to manage your risk as if yan yung parang only trade that can make or break your portfolio. So, syempre, we don't want to have a per trade perspective, right? So, gusto natin series of trades tayo. But when you manage your risk, ganun yung parang dapat na effort and weight na binibigay mo sa risk management for you to be a responsible trader. Dapat every trade, you put importance in terms of the risk. Right? Last two. Creative. Ito nung nabasa ko to sa reference, sabi ko, oh, that's very interesting. Kasi, if you're a trader, di ba dapat objective ka? Dapat you're very rule-based. Where does creativity fall into that? And then I realized na a lot of the things that I'm doing, a lot of the processes that I'm doing as a trader are things na born out of my creativity. Like most of you here, especially yung mga TIP students natin, yung mga graduates ng TIP, you know na yung process na ginagawa ko, it's unique to me. Okay, the way Sir Ken trades or the way si Bossy or si Sir Alpha, the way they trade, even if we're using one system, meron na kaming parang uniqueness in terms of the process. That is why even if we're using the same system, yung analysis niya iba sa akin. The way I look at the market iba sa kanya. The way he plans for the trade is different from me. Nung nandito si Bossy sa wedding namin ng wife ko, we talk about how he trades the crypto market. Sabi niya yung process niya napakasimple lang. It's all about just looking at the top 10 gainers and losers. Ganun lang yung approach niya. Very minimalist. So kunwari no, bear market ngayon. So titingnan niya lang daw yung top 10 gainers. So parang flip niya lang yung switch. So kung bear market, titingnan niya yung top 10 gainers. And sa top 10 gainers na yan, since bear market, he will look to short. So baliktad naman pag bull market. Very interesting approach. Sabi ko, yan lang yung way nyo, boss, to like screen and prioritize the names. Sabi niya, yes, yun lang daw. And it's working for him. Pero ako siguro, no, if I replicate that process na meron siya, and yun yung gagawin ko, it's not going to work for me. Kasi hindi pasok yung personality ko and my approach to that kind of approach. So, kailangan maging creative ka. Okay? Do not limit yourself with how other people trade. Ganda nun, no? Kasi, di ba, parang tayo sa TR, everyone, or maybe most of you, gusto nyo maging tulad ng mga mentors. Gusto nyo parang, gusto ko magaya si Bossy. Siya yung parang dapat na ma-replicate ko talaga. So, every single process, every single setup, gusto mo tulad sa kanya. It's not going to work if ganun yung gagawin nyo. So, you have to go outside the box. You have to have the ability to create trade ideas according to your own process. So, meron kang foundation, yung ZFT system, but haluan mo siya ng personal process mo. Okay, syempre, papasok doon yung creativity. And finally, successful traders, they're very confident. Siguro ito yung pinakamahirap ma-achieve. There is, I think it was one of the first episodes ng podcast natin. So I talk about the difference between confidence and conviction. When you say confidence, okay, you're not talking about yung tipong alam mo sa sarili mo na kikita ka always. Okay, that's not the kind of confidence that is healthy when it comes to trading. Yung confidence na pinag-uusapan natin dito is confidence in what you are doing. Confidence that if you're doing this, if you're following your process, even if you have losses, even if there will times na medyo palpak, medyo fail yung mga ginagawa mo, you know deep inside na I'm on the right track. And therefore, kung ano man tong mga failures and losses na to, it's okay. Because I know eventually, since I'm in the right track, darating din yung outcome or yung reward that comes from this process. Okay? Sabi dito sa CME, traders who are self-confident or who are confident recognize that every trade is independent of the past and offers a new opportunity to achieve a positive outcome. Successful traders recognize that past failures cannot be erased. And since they cannot be erased, hindi na sila nagdedwell doon. Oh, so this is a very interesting take on confidence. Kasi again, this is not the typical way of how we view confidence outside of trading, right? So parang sinasabi dito, confident na despite of the failures in the past, it's okay. Wala naman akong magagawa dun sa mga failures na yun. So why dwell on them? And this can be very difficult, di ba? Kasi if you know that you have big losses, if you know na maybe before you came into ZFT or TR, grabe yung emotional baggage and financial baggage na dala-dala mo. So, even if you know na you have a very good community, you have a system that works, dala-dala mo pa rin yun lahat. So, it's compromising your confidence. Now is the time for you to let go of that. Actually, hindi lang now. Before pa, okay? You should have let go of those things. But if you haven't, then look at this list. Okay? So, ito na yung 10 eh. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Look at this. Ito yung kailangan mong ma-achieve. Ito yung traits that you have to develop. In other words, if meron dito isa, kahit isa lang na kulang, wala na. Compromise na yung success mo as a trader. And that's the truth. That's the reality of it. That is why in the markets, 95% are losing. Okay? This is a very difficult game. So, only the best individuals, I'm not talking about the most intelligent or the fastest learners, because you can be not the best in your class, you can be a slow learner, but if you are if you are committed into possessing these traits, into developing these traits and improving yourself, you will make it. Okay, I'm not saying na you might make it, but you will make it because that is what is required for you to be part of the upper 5% or yung 1% talaga na sila yung consistently profitable. Right? So, I hope this list is something that you will consider moving forward. And I think that's it. Okay? Yun yung ano natin for tonight. Do you have any follow-up questions or clarifications? Okay. So I think we have one here. Okay, sagutin muna natin. Okay. Sir Alex. Good evening, sir. Hingi lang sana tips or suggestions kung paano ma-instill ang patience sa trading. Nag-shift kasi ako from momentum to swing since mas madaming winning trades ko sa swing. Struggle ko din kasi ngayon yung pag-hold at yung gusto ko mag-practice. Madami kasi ako nasasakyan before na malalakas. Pero upon reflection, di naman dapat stupid. Okay. So you came from a momentum profile. So sa momentum kasi 'di ba sanay tayo na mabibilis yung move. And now you're trying swing. And swing trading requires more patience than momentum. Siguro, wait, I'm thinking how to approach it. Okay, let's talk about the technical side of it. Swing trading, if you backtest it, it will always give you data na yung mga best trades are trades that you will hold. So, parang ganito yan, sir. If alam mo na ito yung data, if alam mo ito talaga yung nature ng strategy, and if you don't trust the data, hindi mag-work yung strategy na yun. So, if you understand that, I think for me, it's very easy to be patient at that point. Diba? Yung tipong ano lang, yung premise lang na I need to hold it, I need to be patient for it to work. Okay? So yun na yung parang magiging motivation mo para sa akin. Gusto mong kumita, di ba? That's the goal. Regardless if you're momentum or swing, your goal is to earn and to earn consistently. So if that's your goal and you know that part of that goal is to hold as a swing trader, to be more patient, then do it. So siguro kung may struggle ka man doon sa part na yon, it's either hindi mo talaga inintindi yung nature ng strategy na yan, hindi mo inintindi yung stats niya, yung holding time involved, the appearance of the setups. Kasi 'di ba pag titingnan mo yung mas swing trading setups, it's really a combination of different legs. So ito, this can be considered a swing. So, hindi naman yan nangyayari in 2 to 3 days, right? This happens in different multiple candles. Even if you're trading intraday, syempre, faster time frame. So, alam mo na the move that you are expecting as a swing trader takes time. Kasi pag ang goal mo as a swing trader is to buy here and sell here, tapos yung expectation mo is magbo-move siya ng 3 candle lang na malalaking candle, hindi talaga hindi yun swing trading. That's more of momentum trading. Gets mo ba? So, yun. Understanding the data, the holding time involved, and number 2, knowing or aligning your bias with the strategy. So, if it's clear sa utak mo na ito yung move, ganito yung itsura ng move na ina-expect mo as a swing trader, then stick to that kind of bias. And understand na that will take time. Okay? I think that answers your question. Clear ba? Okay. Any other pahabol? Especially yung related dito sa ano natin, sa discussion natin on the different qualities. Right. No more questions? Sige. So I think that's it, guys. Ayan. So medyo nag-ano na tayo, extend ng konti, no? So, 1 hour lang talaga yung podcast natin. So, thank you for attending. See you again next Sunday. So, be ready. If may mga questions kayo, hindi nyo natanong tonight, yan, share nyo sa atin next Sunday. So, enjoy the rest of the evening and good night.